how would you like to make your first million? Today we have Amy Kemp, which is the CEO of Amy Kemp, INC. So, the work growing companies, Amy helps people understand how deeply thought habits impact the part of their life. As a certified habit finder coach, Amy has led over 400 females, wow, business leaders through a 4-month explosive engagement called Encounter. This experience is designed to help clients replace subconscious thought habits that are no longer serving them with more helpfulness. So she's also an author. I can see the poet behind her, see you. So Amy, tell us, what are the 5 steps you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first hit?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Such a great question. I love the clarity of it. I came up with these 5. The first one is to hire a coach, or to work with a coach in some capacity. So sometimes I know when you're just starting out, it can be difficult to afford all of the expenses of starting something new and also having that coaching, but there are so many options and so many ways that you can put yourself in the space of someone who will elevate your thinking. But just like any great athlete has a coach, I don't know any leader or business that's thriving and growing that isn't being impacted by some sort of coaching. So it's just always been a part of my budget. It's just a part of my life, having that support system. So that's the first one. The second one is to know your unique genius, to really be able to clearly articulate what it is that you do. That it's when you're in that mode where like something almost magical happens through you and you're not even aware of it, but you're sort of allowing this bigger energy source to flow through your unique gifts and out into the world. What is it that you're doing when that happens? So just as an example, and you usually can figure it out by looking back kind of on your life, but I facilitate these small group coaching engagements, and I bring together women who lead all over the country into this small group setting, and I facilitate a conversation with these people. And it's so funny, but I can look back. I was very young, maybe 7 or 8. And in our neighborhood, I created this clubhouse, and you had to put a piece of chewed gum on a tree to get in. That was like the payment to get in. But then I would sit and I would facilitate in a circle. I would facilitate conversations with all the kids about how we could make our neighborhood better and could we do a lemonade stand, and but I was doing this work as a child. I've always, no matter what, been facilitating conversations among people. So just identifying that unique genius, I think, is really critical. And then harnessing it to create income unapologetically and understanding the value of it. One of my favorite quotes is by Og Mandino, and he says, "You are rare, and there is value in all rarity. Therefore, you are valuable." So it's like, what's that rare thing? And typically it feels easy to you, but it astonishes everyone else. So that's the thing where like I could lead a small group discussion in my sleep. It's so easy for me, but I've realized people can't do that. That's a very rare and unique thing. So understanding and knowing and identifying your natural genius is the second one. The third one is something I call the idea filter, or the decision filter. Needs to be in place, I think, right when you're getting started, because money-making ventures are hungry and they will eat your life if you do not have boundaries with them. And in my frameworks, I don't want to just create millions. I want to create a life I love where I have millions to spend. It's a very big distinction there. And so this filter has three sides. So it's a triangle. And the first one is it aligned with my passion and purpose? So kind of going back to that unique genius, does it fit into that? The second one is, does it match the quality of life I want to live? So for me, I want to work like a teacher. So I work like 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. And then weekends off. I don't like to do a lot in the evenings. Of course, if I have an event or something, but typically I don't. And get paid like a CEO. And that's the third triangle, the side of the triangle, which is it paying me what I'm worth? So these three sides of the triangle, if it's not three yeses for me, it's a no, in every business decision that I make. So quality of life, passion and purpose, paying me what I'm worth. Three yeses is a yes. Two yeses is a no. One yes is a no. So that is the third one. Do you want me to just keep plowing through?
Absolutely.
Okay, all
Absolutely.
right.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Number four is to know your lead measures and to know the things that you can control in your business or your pursuit that you can control that lead to the lag measures that you want. So in this case of this question, it would be the income you want. What are the action steps that I can measure and take? Like I know the month ends tomorrow. I can tell you each of my lead measures where I am on those. And these are things that I have control over that generate income in my business. But those things aren't tracking revenue. I track that also, but what I'm really tracking is the behavior I can control that generates the revenue. And so it's like it's easier to get on the scale and weigh yourself than it is to track what you're eating and how you're taking care of your body, right? So we're really good at tracking the lag measures. We're terrible at tracking the lead measures generally. And so it's like really honing in on these things that I can control that generate the income. And then the fifth one is to know your ideal client and to make all decisions based on what will serve your ideal client. So, my ideal client, as an example, is a very intelligent woman who generally doesn't fit in with all groups of women. She's in charge of everything, even if she didn't want to be from the start. She ends up in charge of everything she joins. She usually has a big title, big degree, some sort of big thing she owns or runs, right? So public facing or like really in charge of something significant. And she has this thing that we kind of teasingly call shiny squintyitis, which is like she shines so brightly it makes other people squint. And the people can kind of have interesting reactions to her. They sometimes aren't sure or they're intimidated or they act differently around that person. And it can be difficult for them to find peers, like to find people that they can connect with and really share life with. This person I know so well. And every decision, like when every word I wrote in my book, I would think like I'm writing for her. I'm not writing a book about something. I'm writing a book for her. This offering I'm creating in my business, this is not an offering that I'm dreaming up out of the sky. It's based on a need I see from her. Everything I'm doing is in response to the need of my ideal client. So, as an example, I do a weekend event every year. We go to a different US city. My friend owns a luxury travel company, and we partner together for this magnificent travel experience. But really, what I created it for is that my clients don't have very much fun. And so this is guilt-free playtime where they get to connect with people who are like them, where they can be themselves and not apologize. They can talk about the fact that they're going back to law school. They can talk about their business having its best year ever. They can talk about the fact that their company just doubled in size and be celebrated there. But this space I've created wasn't something I dreamed up out of the sky. It was in response to a need I saw in my ideal client. So I always say, like, know the person you're serving so intimately that everything you create is in response to their needs.
But really, facilitate groups is one of the most difficult skills. It's actually skill the more you practice, the better you become. Yeah. So, and sometimes we do workshops all over the world and how to facilitate them, how to get the conversation going, how to sometimes in large events when you have so many people. I learned this when I was doing free events, right? So I some people go there and actually they want to be the speaker, they want to be the protagonist, and they want to change the flow, the conversation, no to what you want all the people to go because you know this is the need of everybody. People will come there and change the dynamic, and you have to facilitate that and get back everybody. And clearly the mix for that, but it's important that since we start to phrase this, we say no more free events.
Mhm.
People pay because otherwise it's getting way more challenging, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you want to help as much people as possible. Okay, you said this idea is free, but again, then you're not helping them because they are uh, they're different and they have different needs. And some of them even come with different agenda. They don't care what you're doing. They just come with their own agenda to do their own thing there, right? So sometimes when we are putting groups together, we have to articulate effectively exactly as you said, who's your client, who you solving, and charge them so they're committed to what you do it, right?
Yes.
Then the outcome is amazing because now you have everybody in the room that these values embrace the same problem, okay? Solving
Mhm.
that as a group, right? Facilitating the conversation, solving that as a group and working to the goal. It's fantastic. Since we do our events all the world, we try to don't make it about Harry. It's about them. It's all about facilitate that, get the conversation, get the point, and they evolve and they discover by themselves because when they learn forever. If I go there and I tell them, this is how you grow your business, this is how you do this is how you do that, they're not wrong. The outcome is quick. But what can we do is just facilitate the conversation and allow them the space for them to break through. Okay? It's not the same, like I said, it's not the same that Amy said, you have to do this, that Amy facilitate the conversation and gradually their own time they realize by themselves what is the what they have to. I always tell to my client, I'm your insurance policy, right? So you go with the thing and then I confirm to you, right? So I want to create that conversation, that space for you to come with the solution yourself. Because I think it's more powerful like this, and people will actually take action and they actually change life, especially in this large organization. When if you take the wrong direction, you don't have a lot more. So, Amy, how you learn this? How you realize? I get that if you were doing uh, facilitating your fellow kids, like how to get a better community. So how you build this business and become a great facilitator, which It's a very unique skill, very rare.
Mhm.
Not many people can do it because if you're really doing it with intention and you're really doing it for the soul, just not put it to that. One thing is community leader. You can have community leader. You can be a leader of organization. You have a lot of people in that organization that compete and engage to pull a group of people together who are facing the problem, want an outcome, you want to take action. When things like this, it's a highly skilled set that for me took me years to develop. So
Mhm.
how you end up going this? That's the story, basically.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, I had worked for decades in sales leadership and had grown a really successful sales team that was across the country, um, sort of like at the top of the mountain of this world I was living in. When I started to have women approach me and talk to me that I just knew personally, they were professional women or business owners or whomever, and they were telling me they felt alone or they were struggling with this or they didn't have anyone to talk to. And they were all coming to me, but they didn't know each other. And I wasn't, I didn't, wasn't trying to start a business. Again, I was just responding to a need, but I thought if I could get these women together, they could see that they weren't alone and they could learn from each other, but they also could share resources or share recommendations for things that they used or liked or whatever. There was a really great conversation at our last event about this really great laundry detergent. I mean, just silly things sometimes, but it's fun, you know? And so I was speaking at an event in Salt Lake City. A coach that I had worked with years before, but had stayed in touch with lives out there. So I said, "Hey, I'm coming out. I'd love to see you." We had dinner, and I said, "I keep having this feeling that I need to bring these women together." And he said, "Well, Monday we're starting a training for people to use the assessment tool that he uses. And it's a pretty extensive training, but maybe, I really think you should take action on this idea and you could go through this training." And it was so crazy. I was so not thinking about doing that. I wasn't trying to become a coach. It was so far. I call it the accidental business, but I knew what I could do with these women. Like that, I knew. And I thought, I'll just do this on the side and kind of scratch an itch and see what happens. And it grew really, really fast. So the business took off from
Very
there.
impressive.
Yeah, but that was 9 years ago.
For
And this
nine
has been
years
my,
ago.
yeah, this has been my full-time work for like the last 7 or 8 years. I'd say seven and a
Wow.
half years.
Oh,
So
wow. That's
yeah,
what a great story.
it's great.
Most of the business is done by accident. We just, like my first business was 20 years ago. I think I was working in a pub in London. There was maybe 25 one 67% of my paycheck. So we had to find a way to pay rent. So I rent the houses and then I rent the rest of my house. Okay, something in the living room. But, paying rent by head. 6 hours, and then we continue to acquire more house to manage more family. So, so and in this podcast, on the maintenance, and you hear the stories sometimes because it happens. It's an accident. It was an accident, trying to solve a problem for myself, and then I got to help other people, and then people pay, and then I said, well, I'm gonna do it more, and then people keep paying everything. The accident, you become an entrepreneur. So my question to you, next one is about this transition. Maybe a lot of people are listening to this podcast that incorporate, they're looking at you and say, wow, it's amazing. She can fill her own calendar. She's her own
Mm.
boss with those retreats, which is a lot of fun. You don't need to deal with bullying. You need to deal with do this job. You need to deal with one thing that happen in your environment. They are on the edge. They are on the edge, and they never take the decision. Okay. So can you tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly of the transition between corporate to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah. I will tell you, if you want to know every unhealthy subconscious habit of thinking that you have in your brain, go ahead and go from corporate to being an entrepreneur because you will discover things about yourself in that process that you would never have to discover if you just stay on the current path that you're on. It brings things to the surface. I describe it like a beach ball that's been held underwater. When you make that transition, these habits of thinking just come rushing to the surface. Um, and it reveals a lot. It gives you a lot of opportunities to grow. What I will tell you is that I am not a person who says unequivocally that one is like for sure better than the other. For some people who, I think about a single parent, maybe with a child with significant health needs. You might not have the luxury. You may need the healthcare benefits that are provided by a traditional workplace. I don't think it's wise unless you have a very high risk tolerance to just make the jump cold turkey. I think it's much smarter to start something on the side that's small. Even for me, it looks like, oh, I just made this big jump. Well, I had a lot of income that I was living on that allowed me to grow this business without pressure on it, that allowed me to make wise long-term strategic decisions that have really served the business. But if I didn't have a source of income and I was depending on it, the pressure of that can be too much. So I'm one that if you don't have a high risk tolerance, small baby steps are better than none at all. I also think what you were saying is so wise, like just respond to the need that's in front of you. I don't think you have to have the big strategic plan. I don't think you have to know where it's going. I mean, similarly, we have a rental business and we just bought one house and we fixed it up and then like we bought another one, and it grew. But like we didn't set out to have a rental business. We just it was an opportunity that showed up. So sometimes it's like we're looking out there for the big, perfect thing, and there's this small thing right in front of you that you're just not taking action on. And I always say to people, like, just take action on the very small thing. Now, there is a tipping point because there's also like an energy thing where if you've worked all day in a really demanding job, it's really difficult to come home and have the energy to like create business. That's very challenging. So you have to monitor that as you're going, like what your capacity is. But I definitely will say that's where I do think having some guidance. When I was making that transition, I was working with a coach. I would not have made it through, both because my role was so demanding and public over here. And then I knew people were going to have strong reactions to my departure. It was really challenging. There was a whole identity piece that was wrapped up in that I needed to work through before I could
Well,
move over.
if you're the head of sales and you leave and I own the company, of course they're gonna have a
It's a
big
not great
reaction.
response
It's a
from
big
everyone.
problem.
And then the people that I was leading that I loved and cared for a lot, right? Like I'm leaving. So there was just a lot that was difficult around that. So I definitely would just say transitions for leaders are important. Go slowly, go very slowly through that, but also go slowly so that you don't put too much financial pressure on a new thing before it's ready to support you, because that can really put people into paralysis.
I agree with you 100%, Amy.
Mhm.
When I when I made my first building, my first business with the property one. Um, I was working in the Hilton. That's I think my last corporate job was Hilton in Canary Wharf as a room service attendant. I was doing it on the side gradually. And I remember that yeah, 1,000 spending there in the case of remember thinking my property business on the state. My part, getting the paycheck today. Wow, I don't see it. Because I make a mistake, I did something in the business and now I have to pay for it. And so that job that I had over some of my mistakes for lending because I didn't have a business. So in lending to be an entrepreneur, and it's hard. Right? So I think because I wake up 4 a.m., build the heater at 5 a.m. to get the breakfast, to do the room service, and at 4 o'clock, then I have to go out to the business. Yeah, it's exhausting. However, because I did it gradually, and I could, it was not too much money what I'm making the hit, but it was helping finance mistakes in the building until the building grew to a place that I was making one day what I was making the whole month. It was to go there. But however, yesterday interview is very simple. Just one guy have beautiful story. By the way, that he got fired from corporate when he was 63 years old.
Mm.
End up with zero. He said that he would go home and look at the face of the wife, and now 69, he won't even, right? Since he
Mhm.
become to be and I asked the same question that I asked him, why did the change before? He told me, Harry, do you want me to be honest? I didn't have the courage to. I was making so much money. It should be crazy if I want to start a business or pay attention. So what do you want me to tell you? He told me, do you want me to be honest with you? So So the corporate in the position that you were, right? They make you very comfortable. I understand that you have responsibility
Yeah.
and everything, but they pay you very good money, right? To make
And I
sure
mean,
to make and
you also
status and
don't,
everything. He told me the
yeah,
guy from yesterday. He told me I had company car. I travel whatever, and then I use that car, and it's not that I was that stressed out. Like I was working in food, so. But the problem is I got 63, I got fired overnight, and he told me, and I took very bad financial decisions, when doing this
mhm,
investment and losing money, everything on my mind, my living confidence, buying the things, betting on the stuff. Uh, what now is doing the things gradually. That, by the way, I love your strategy with the properties one at a time. Okay, it works. Let's do another one easy
mhm.
and slowly without getting risk and headache and to your life.
Yeah,
Um, but it's okay be learning small. Is you don't need to be the 100 whatever millionaires at the end of the day. When you check, you don't really need that much money as you think you need. It's more important to be healthy, more important to work with the people that you love, which is your clients. That I imagine the energy that would be in
yeah,
this room with this woman would be amazing place to be and you know what I mean. I've been in some of those leadership groups time with brilliant people and just the energy of the group is spectacular, right? And it's
yeah,
priceless. You cannot buy
yeah.
that with any money, right? But anyway,
Here's the
so
one
go
more
ahead,
thing,
go ahead.
Harry. One more thing about that is that in the work I do around habits of thinking, so your subconscious brain, if you're sitting in a corporate job and you're fantasizing all day long that when you're over there on the other side of the fence, you're going to be happy, you're creating a groove in your brain that's telling you someday I'll be happy when. When you have that groove in your brain, even when you get to the other side, You still have that groove in your brain that's very deep now. And so now you're over where you wanted to be. And now you're thinking, I'll be happy when the business gets here, when the business gets here, when the business gets here. And you never find the happiness you're looking for because you've created this groove in your brain saying, someday I'll be happy when. So I think that's important to know also. The fastest way to move where you want to be is to fall in love with where you are, to embrace all parts of it, and to get yourself into the millimeters of creating the new thing, the millimeter steps, these tiny little steps. Because the other thing about the other side of the fence, the entrepreneurial fence, is there are some things that are harder about the entrepreneurial walk. Like if you have to have a surgery, well, you can't just take 3 months off paid. Right? Or we just had tornadoes go through where we live, and there's businesses, small businesses that were just flattened. Well,
Where are
what
you based, Amy?
near Chicago?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But but what those business owners are carrying that responsibility of now rebuilding, right? And renew it like their whole business. And so there's a risk with that entrepreneurial space. There's reward and there's great reward, but there's also risk. So I just think it's important that you look at it not like one is the perfect and the other is terrible, but both have pros and cons, and you have to choose the path that fits you best and fits your needs best for where you are right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the fulfillment and the happiness, this is what have worked for me. I realized that there's so many years that when you transform someone's life, and that what actually will make you happy. I think that you think the money is gonna help you make you happy. You think when the
Mhm.
business goes there, you're gonna be happy. With the well, I got good news for everybody. The money have nothing to do with your happiness, right? Can buy you freedom, can make you comfortable. Uh, but the happiness is when you make a difference in someone's life, when you transform
Yeah.
someone's life, then you have fulfillment. That fulfillment is the path for happiness. So this type of work we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, with the I should keep my life simple and do something like you with few people. Yeah, some I was
Yeah.
get really big and it's intense, but I like it because it's exactly what I'm saying is you make that impact, you make that difference in this large group of
Yeah.
people, and I don't know anymore if I doing it for them or for me, right? Because the after we finish our workshop, speakers and leaders, they said, Harry, it was amazing. And even on London, they stopped me in the street. Well, London, different cities that we had
Mhm.
done. Harry, I did your workshop. That was amazing. I changed my life. Look, my business grow. Let's take a picture. And then you arrive. I'm saying, well, I say something. I don't remember what I say. He remembers. I don't. You don't even know what year I did. He was in my. I don't remember that person. He vividly remembers everything, and it make a huge impact in his life. And now you get paid with a different currency, which is better
Yep.
than money. You get paid with love. We people wish you well. I don't get
Mhm.
sick. Everybody that is saying me, wishing me, Harry, I wish you well, that you stay well, uh, sending you love, send you positive energy, send you this. It's, people, you get paid in a different currency, and that
Yeah.
I think that you can start to find your path of happiness in that
Yeah.
aspect. But also, if you do having a corporate job and you making an impact in people's life, you can find that happening there.
You
The
can.
only
Yeah.
the go ahead.
I was just going to tease you. I mean, I definitely want to get paid in the currency that you're describing and the money.
Absolutely, and we're not neglecting the money, eh?
Right. But I hear a lot of women or even sometimes entrepreneurs who will say like, well, at least I have freedom or at least I'm making a difference, but they're not making enough money. And I'm
Mhm.
always like, no, that's not okay for
It
me
doesn't
either. If
work.
you're right. Then
Yeah.
it becomes vacant. there's a real like genuine exchange of value when there's also you're
You know
earning what
what?
you're
Because
worth.
they haven't assessed, they haven't done this triangle that you were talking about it.
That's
Okay,
true.
they
Hmm.
haven't
Yeah.
done that part. So if they listen this podcast twice, they should be paying attention
Mhm.
what you describe. I
Yeah.
learned this, by the way, during the years. A lot of people call me, Harry, let's do this business. We're gonna make millions. I'm like, hold on a minute. What is gonna take? Because I need to play my tennis. I need my
Yeah.
time to do my things. I don't want headache in my life anymore. Yeah, I don't have to. So,
I, I just
uh,
said that to someone. This just happened last week. There was like a big opportunity that someone presented me with. And it was a great, I think I could really thrive. And I said, if this is like a sacrifice everything, work 80 hours a week, whatever, like my life is too precious right now. I won't do it. And I
absolutely.
I also just as a parent, like I'm not missing this time with my family, like with my kids. I'm just not doing that. That's not, but if you're telling me I can do it between 8 and 3 and and it works within these boundaries, yeah, absolutely. But we need boundaries with our goals and our ambition, just like we need them with
And
people
also
and
your
relate.
lifestyle as well. You have to see what lifestyle you want to have,
Yes.
because you cannot have a business that you charge in X and then you want to live different than that, because
Yes.
do it on the
Correct.
other way, right? So how much money you
Mhm.
need, okay, and then plan the business accordingly and charge accordingly, because otherwise, yeah, you can be helping a lot of people, but you're not gonna make
Yeah.
uh, enough money uh, to 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 fill your lifestyle, or at least the
Yeah.
minimum of the lifestyle you want. And
Yeah.
we had like, I need time for do my podcast, for this podcast. I have
Mhm.
events. I get invited to speak and family offices events all over the world. So I need to travel and go to these events. So the whatever I'm doing, you need to have the flexibility to allow me to do that, because that makes me happy. This is what I like to do, and I cannot stop what what I'm passionate about it, right? So everything from income that comes have to adapt to the current situation. And all the opportunity seems like like for example, right? The other day somebody asked me, Harry, it's easy to make money. I said depends. When I was 21 years old, I have to work Monday to Sunday without stopping, and it was hard to make money. Today, after all the experience that I have, I can make a phone call and make a lot of money just with the phone call, right?
Mhm.
So, uh, you said about the time of your life, right? Now you have your own business. You've been head of sales for corporate America for a long time. So the amount of knowledge and expertise you have, you don't have to work Monday to Sunday anymore to make. So the
Yeah.
opportunities we have to assess that
Yeah.
opportunity, what it comes, and but also to do what make us happy. And I think that is like I said, my workshop as big as it is, I don't know anymore if I do it for the people that or for me. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
get charged in the whole thing. I get more fired up and ready to go than them, than the students, because it's a room, 30,
Yeah.
50 people sometimes. And I had them to overcome the fear of public speaking. They start to grow the business, things like this. And it's an amazing energy. And we know how we've been doing this for a while now. The workshop become famous all over the world because of that, right? Because that space that we create in that room is a unique experience. And but again, every time that we're going to do this, I'm excited because we all together, because that's the facilitator. Also, you have to level the what I say, how call it, the temperature of the room, and you have to graduate.
Mhm.
the level of energy, those one that I do, that they're very dynamic, right? So you have to, the energy goes so high in the room time to time, so you have to learn how to facilitate that, to make sure that you have the outcome that you desire, right? And it
Yeah.
comes with time. So, Amy, the last thing I want to ask you, well, I want to ask you one thing, but anyway, tell me about your book. Why you decide to write this book? When people can buy this book?
Yeah, I'd
If
love
people
to.
are in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process works? Tell us all this.
Yeah. So my book is called I See You. It's a guide for women who want more income and influence and impact without more work. The core message of
I
the
love
book
the
is that
title.
you can't.
I love it.
What's that?
I
You
love the
love
title. I
it?
love it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm an even a boy. Yeah.
Thank you. The core message of the book is that you can't outwork your thought habits. So there's a point where hard work isn't enough. You've got to change the way you think in order to really get what you want. The book is designed to be sort of like the foyer, like the entryway of my business, where you can walk in and look around and see if you like it. It is an easy access point. That's how I always describe it. You can get it anywhere you get books, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org. But you also can listen to it on Audible if you're a listener. So it's my voice. People always ask if it's my voice. Um, and then my work, you can best find me in two places. Instagram at Amy Kemp Inc. is a great place to follow just the community of my work. But then also my website, which is also my name, amykemp.com is my website. So just amykemp.com. There's some fun resources on there about the book, but also you can learn about my offerings, the coaching I do, and the events that I do for this very specific person. So.
Okay, and then in your later experience as property investor, okay, out of the 500 millionaires that we interviewed in this podcast, 1 out of 5 are property investor, property millionaire. So why do you think, clearly the statistics of this podcast show that there's a good vehicle to build wealth, but in your experience, what do you like about the property investment versus, and by the way, a lot of people that, all the millionaires that I know, most of them have properties also. It's not the main business, but they have properties on the side. And I see that you're starting this path now. So tell us a little bit more about your property
Mm.
journey and what message do you have for women out there in corporate and sometimes maybe or for men also sometimes they on the side they might be maybe build the property portfolio and one day don't need to have like my guest yesterday that if it gets sacked, okay, I'm fine financially, I don't have any problem. I have all these uh,
Yeah.
property that I've been buying on the side when I'm doing my corporate job because
Mm.
at 63 he goes he has to perform. He
Yeah.
told me, Harry, I don't, I wish everybody to prepare and don't happen what happened to me because I have to no
Yeah. Then
job,
you're not.
nothing, and build everything from scratch with you 63. It's really been on a stretch. So tell us
Yeah.
about your journey in property
Yeah.
and
I would
go
love
ahead.
to. This is so great. I never really talk about this, but my husband and I run this business together, and he does all of the like dealing with the renters and that kind of work and all the maintenance. He actually is really good at that and enjoys it. I do more of the like financial part of it, and then I am always looking for properties. I have kind of a good eye for things, but what we did, we're kind of just fresh in this also. We've only been doing it for maybe like 7 or 8 years, but we started with this one little house. It was so inexpensive, but it was junk, and bought it and then fixed it up and rented just that one house. And then we bought a second little house, and then we bought a third, and we actually bought, I think it was like we were playing Monopoly. It was so funny. We bought like 7 houses, these little
Brilliant.
houses. And then we had the opportunity to buy 2 apartment buildings. And so we sold the 7 houses all in 3 months. My husband did it. He sold them all. We were able to like make enough that we had
Oh,
enough for the
wow.
down payment on these apartments. And so now we have 16 units over here, and we're actually working on buying another one now. But what's really fascinating is that for the first like 4 or 5 years, we didn't profit from the business right away. But then now we are, and of course, long term, much more profit. I will also add the risk, having there just been through a tornado and hail, that like there is risk. I mean, we're paying for all new roofs right now. There's a ton of damage, which insurance covers kind of. So there is risk to it, but there's also just a great long term income opportunity. Again, I'm no expert at it, but I have found it to be really fun to just sort of play around in this different space. Again, it kind
That
of
is
feels
like
like
you play,
monopoly.
it's like you playing like Monopoly, right?
It is like when we sold all those houses, I said, "Oh my gosh, we're just playing Monopoly for real in real life." You sell the one that's on like whatever avenue, New York Avenue, but you buy Marvin Gardens then next. So yeah.
So what happened with the little casitas? I think that they were a good idea. They were giving you
They
cash flow.
were, but we needed the cash to put down to get these apartments, and the apartments are way
But the
more
apartment,
profitable.
are they? Wow. Because
Way
that was a
more.
big leap. It's a big leap from
Yeah.
going to
Now I
single
will,
landlord to multi
yes, I will tell
family.
you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Backstory. My husband, his grandparents owned the apartments before, and he had been managing them already for years. So we knew all the renters, we knew the properties, we knew what we were getting into. It wasn't like we just found
Very
them out
good.
of the blue.
Very
They
good.
were
That was
they
keeping
were
work.
selling them. Yeah.
Ah,
But
okay, okay,
he had
okay.
already been, and he actually had chosen all the renters and was doing all of the work and being paid for it already. So yeah. Yeah.
Well done, Amy. Yeah, I'll congratulations for that. Keep your property side slowly because after this
Yeah.
conversation, you are someone with a lot of discipline that mitigate your risk,
Mhm.
and there is no need to rush in anything. But
Yeah.
keep doing your business, which you do amazing, and the property is slowly on the
Yeah.
side. Be very careful, being aware of risk, and eventually you build that asset. And yeah, to women in corporate or to everyone in corporate, the more you can help them to understand that transition that we talk about. Is we want everybody, especially entrepreneurs, to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. However, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Sometimes maybe the transition they need to be to corporate to investors, and and do a little bit of casitas, houses,
Yeah.
like you said, um, because to be your own boss, to create that thing, is not for everyone. You really need to
Yeah.
have discipline and know your stuff.
By the
And
way,
it's
I
not
love that
easy.
you
And it's not
I
easy.
love that you called them casitas because I would always think of them in my head as little casitas. They were like little houses. They
Well,
were so cute. So
yeah, you
yes.
you describe them like little houses. I say
Yes.
casitas. Yeah, like
Yeah.
my first business was in property. Like
Mm,
we were in London. I was renting the units full and then renting them individually, which is with tiny
mm,
rooms, like it was rooms, like
yeah.
a mini casita. So we are
Yeah.
small casita. So I'm familiar with them, and they were very profitable, and everybody was
Yeah.
happy. But I think
Yeah.
that the more we progress, uh, the more we progress,
Mm,
we learn more. Because we learn
yeah.
more now, we understand the dynamic of this business, and then we can improve gradually a little bit more, a little bit more. I think so. Thank you so much for the
Thank
podcast.
you.
And everybody watching the video, so Amy's book is right behind her, where it said,
Mhm.
I see you, as they cover. Okay. And for a lot of you following the podcast, see you in our next episode from Unstoppable How Break Entrepreneurs like Amy break that wall and achieve the first meeting. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.